This conference will now be recorded.
There it is. Okay. All right. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Good to see you, bro.
It's good to see you as well, man. This has been a nice little reunion.
Yeah, man. I listened to a couple of your audios, and
Yeah.
sound great. They sound really good.
Well,
Doing
thanks,
a good
Max.
job, bro. You're doing a good job. Real good job.
Well, I appreciate it. I definitely appreciate you saying that. I definitely appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy man.
It's all good, bro. As soon as you told me what you were doing, um, no brainer. No
My
brainer.
man.
Yeah. So it was yeah, definitely.
My man. Okay. All right. So now where are you located at now? You still in North Carolina?
No, man, I'm in Orlando. I've been in Orlando 4 years.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I lived here before for like 9 years,
Uh-huh.
and then left for six, and then I came back in what 2016ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it
So
must
when
be
I
nice out
retired,
there.
yeah, when I retired, I came here, and then I was here for like
Cool.
9 years, and then I left, and then I came back about 4 years ago.
Okay. All right. Well, cool, cool. Well, let me go ahead and hit that intro then.
All
Um,
righty.
Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Pat Brown. I am a financial advisor with Edmunds Duncan Investment Advisors here in Lawrence, Kansas. Played football for University of Kansas years and years and years and years ago. Played outside linebacker, started for 3 years, and loved my time there at the University of Kansas. Met a lot of great people, such as my next guest here, and became very, very passionate about financial literacy for student athletes, and started that process some time ago, but which kind of led me to here as far as really interviewing former student athletes with the hopes that current student athletes can learn from these former guys and see what they've done right and see what they've done wrong, and create those habits that will help these current student athletes better prepare and make better decisions on financial matters. So I always start this interview out just kind of giving the definition of financial literacy. And so financial literacy is the possession of a set of skills and knowledge that allows an individual to make informed and effective decisions with all their financial resources. And the reason I always say that is I'm under the impression that a lot of student athletes are under the impression that financial literacy means that they're not either the brightest or not that smart or whatever the case may be. And I always want to preface it with the definition of financial literacy, because I think just like the habits that we form as athletes, I think those same type of habits need to be developed as far as these young student athletes understanding what financial literacy is. And I think, if we're able to help create those small habits, the better off they'll be. Um, so got that out the way. And of course, I had to do some cyber stalking on man Ike here. And again, wasn't that hard, man. Wasn't that hard. And I may have to paraphrase because you got quite a bit. So
I've,
you were like basically all state everything coming out of high school. Deemed the best athlete to come out of Missouri at the time when you came out. Crazy. Um, see, you're heavily sought after by professional baseball teams and was the 24th round draft pick of the San Diego Padres. Had no idea. Uh, you decided obviously to go to University of Kansas for a right scholarship for both football and baseball. Um, so even at KU for baseball, I didn't know that you're MVP on the baseball squad. First team All Big 12, first team All Big 12 tournament, second team All American after your junior year, drafted by your hometown St. Louis Cardinals. Had no idea about that either. After the stint in minor leagues, batting over 300, you returned to college, pursue your college education with football, playing receiver, named MVP, second All Big 12, drafted in the sixth round of the 1997 draft by the Kansas City Chiefs, following 1997 preseason, signed with the Chiefs practice squad, then by Tennessee Oilers, which obviously were named the Titans, playing the league for 6 years, starting the Super Bowl. That's crazy. then finish your career with this Carolina Panthers. Then I didn't know you wrote a book, man. I mean, just all over the place, man. Wrote a book and everything. So anyway,
I've been very fortunate, very fortunate.
so this is my man Isaac Byrd. I played with Isaac back in the day. If you know, the guys didn't gather, but hopefully, you know, student athletes that are currently watching, hopefully, and listening, please definitely take heed to what this man has to say. So I guess right off the bat, man, again, thanks for the time. Kind of talk about, and you're obviously a little bit different because of the fact you play, you know, the two different sports, and obviously got drafted for the for baseball. What are your thoughts about, you know, finance? You know, for everything from budgeting to savings to credit. You know, did someone talk to you about that stuff prior, or is that kind of what you learned through trial and error?
It was definitely trial and error. I didn't know anything about credit when I came to college, like anything. And that was definitely trial and error. I didn't learn about credit and how it can set you up later in life to
Yeah.
probably second, third year in the league.
Wow.
I didn't understand. I remember getting credit cards in college, and you
Yep.
know, there was these credit cards information, and I fill them out. I'm like, oh, give me a credit card. I had
Yep.
no idea that will ruin your credit if you don't pay them.
Yeah.
I mean, it just wasn't taught that. You know, it was not taught to me that, you know, you better make sure you have the money every month, because if not,
Yeah.
it's going to hit your credit. And if it hits your credit, that's going to stay on for a number of years. Even when you graduate and leave college, it's still going to be on your profile. So I had no idea
Yeah.
about credit. That wasn't taught to me, and savings. Well, you know, I didn't have any money
Mhm.
coming out of high school. I mean, you know, my you know my financial situation with my family wasn't ideal. So
Mhm.
when I got to college, I just didn't have any money, any kind of thought process of acquiring money. I just knew that I needed it.
Yeah.
You know, I just knew I wanted it because I knew where I come from. And I remember, I'll tell you a real quick story.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember this is I'm probably 9 years old,
Mhm.
and I'm in the basement with my mom. Maybe I'm 8, and we're moving some furniture around.
Mhm.
And I see this picture, this framed picture, and it was a beautiful mansion in the picture. And then it was this beautiful woman with this beautiful dress with a lot of jewelry. She was standing next to a Rolls Royce.
Mhm.
And I was like, holy crap, that's awesome. And
Yeah.
the headline said, "Poverty sucks." So I'm looking at it, I'm like, poverty? I don't know what that is.
Right.
So I asked my mom, I say, Mom, look at this picture. I like it, but it says poverty sucks. What is poverty? And she said, poverty is what you're in. I never forgot that story. Never.
Wow.
And at that time, I didn't truly understand what she meant. But then, you know, growing up and then, you know, getting older, you know, you realize, boy, yeah, boy, we were in poverty. So when I
Wow.
got to college, man, when I got to college, I mean, my mindset was, you know, I don't want to go back to there. I don't want to go back. I don't want to go back there financially. I have to do whatever it is I have to do to make sure that I set myself up, because I don't want to. I don't want to do that anymore.
Man, that's amazing, man. That's powerful stuff, man. Yeah. Wow. So yeah, I know I'll touch on that one already. So then I guess what would you say, again, looking back, was kind of your worst financial decisions? What were some of your best financial? I mean, I know we all kind of got the stipend, you know, monthly and whatnot. Was it something that, you know, went out and just got shoes, or were you able to kind of finagle that a little bit more?
I think my worst financial decision was not opening up a savings account,
Hmm.
and or even a bank account. Yeah, and again, maybe it was my ignorance of where I was growing up from, and that it didn't, I wasn't taught it in school. but I
Mhm.
just didn't understand the value of the two, of a checking account and a savings account. I just did not. So I think the worst decision was, whenever stipend, whatever money came in, or whatever money that my parents was able to scrape up and send me, I just
Mhm.
spent. And I should have opened up a savings account and let the money sit.
Yeah.
And I didn't do that. So it probably took probably my senior year till I realized, you know what? I mean, my parents have been scraping money to send to me so that I can eat,
Yeah.
and I didn't treat it as well as I should have, knowing that they had to do what they had to do to even get the money. So that affected me right around my senior year. That I wasn't treating the money that I was getting. It wasn't a lot, but if I would have just opened up a savings account and say put half that money away,
Yeah.
live on half, I would have been in a much better situation, at least going into my senior year than I was.
Okay. Okay. Um, so looking back then on college, and you've pretty much touched on this as well, but what would you have done different in regards to doing with your money? I mean, would it have been simply, like you said, open up a savings and checking account to kind of let that money sit a little bit, or?
Yeah, I think it definitely would have been that,
Mhm.
um, in conjunction with, um, probably wouldn't have splurged as much as I did on the weekends. Just
You
hanging
and me
out with,
both, brother.
just hanging out with the fellas, going out,
Yep.
doing what we do, and just spending money on the weekends, and then you wake up Monday and Tuesday, and you're like, holy crap, there's
Yep.
no way on earth I can call my mom and ask for some more money. Just that just is that's a no. So then you try and figure out, like, okay, how do I manage this situation for another 3 weeks or so until I'm able to get a little bit more money. So the proper management just wasn't there at all for me.
Mhm.
At least my first 3 years in the league, I just didn't have the tools, and it wasn't taught to me in school. Like, I didn't have classes. I don't know how it is now, but I didn't have financial classes that talked about budgeting and credit and checking account and planning for the future. None of that stuff was
Yeah.
taught to me. That was all trial and error.
I don't, even today, as I, talk to some younger cats, I don't think there's a class specifically like that. And if there is, it's not mandatory. Obviously you got some people that are obviously economic
Yeah.
majors or something of that nature, but I don't think there's a class that just really spells out the stuff that we need to do as adults, adulting basically. Everything from, like you said, checking and savings to understanding credit, to even investment management in some capacity. I think it'd be great if there was something like that. Um, but anyway, so next question. How has the habits you formed in college affected life after college, or has it?
It's affected it, because when I was when I was fortunate to be drafted first in baseball,
Hmm.
I was able to get a signing bonus, and it was my first time really having a little bit of money. And that was my junior year. That's when I left school and went to the minor leagues.
Yeah.
And when I came back my senior year, I knew I had a little bit of money, and um, so I knew I wanted to, you know, save it a little bit more.
Sure.
And when I was lucky enough to be drafted into the NFL, getting a signing bonus and things was a huge jolt. Like, because I mean, because at that point you're 21 years old, and you
Yeah.
really, in my situation, I never saw, tens of thousands of dollars at one time.
Right. Right.
So it's like, okay, here it is. And it's
Figuring
like,
it out.
yeah, man, and it's a shock. It's a shock. So, but I tell you a quick story.
Yeah.
Um, the thing that really helped me my first year out of college.
Mhm.
It was 2 days after the draft. I get drafted by Kansas City Chiefs.
Mhm.
I sign my contract, and my dad and I go to lunch. And he said, "Well, Byrd," he always called me Byrd. "Well,
Yeah.
Byrd, you getting you a little bit of money now, ain't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, Dad, yeah, I'm getting a little bit of money now." He's like, "Okay, okay." He said, "Are you gonna be one of those players that play 15 years and sign a $50 million contract? Or are you gonna be one of the players that play 2 or 3 years and just make some good money, but it's not life changing?"
Mhm.
I was like, "I want to be the $50 million guy. I think I'm going to be that guy."
Right.
Then he said, "What we're going to do with your money," now he's telling me what we're going to do with my money.
He said, wait.
"What we're going to do with your money is we're going to put some of that money away every single paycheck. We're
Okay.
going to invest that money, put it away, and you're not going to live on that money. You're going to live on a certain percentage every single check, because you didn't have money growing up, you didn't have money in college, and you can live very minimally and save a bunch of money and and be fine."
Yeah.
And that was a shock to me. I'm like, I'm gonna work my entire life to get to this point to have a little bit of money. Now you're telling me I can't even spend it? So it was
He's like, you're paying for lunch, Dad.
exactly, So, but again, that was him taking me back to understanding where you come from. Don't let the situation change who you are.
Right.
And know who your friends and family members are. Know how to manage friends and family.
Yeah.
Huge, gigantic. And it took me a while to understand that. It took me a while to figure that point out. But and again, that was all really coming from a background in college where I just wasn't given the education to not just handle my money, but
Mhm.
how do I handle my friends who's been with me my entire life and money? Or how do I handle my family members who's been my biggest fans? Now I
Yeah.
got, how do I manage that situation? So
Yeah.
all of that
Wow.
was tough. All of that was extremely tough my first few years. It was I figuring out took a minute.
Well, yeah, I keep thinking, financial literacy, but you hit on something else, obviously managing friends and family who,
Yeah.
like you said, have been in your corner. Yeah, that's gotta be tough. Gotta be tough. I don't even know how to deal with that, man. I don't even, there's a course for that. I mean, uh,
Yeah, and when I retired, I did a lot of speaking. I wrote a book and I did a lot of speaking. I used to work with a lot of high schools and smaller colleges. I did a lot of speaking, and that was one of the things that I would speak on
mm,
is really being able to manage not just understanding money, but
mhm.
situations that surrounding money, like taxes. I never knew about taxes. I didn't understand taxes until I got to the league, because
Yeah,
I wasn't taught about in college. I didn't know Uncle Sam took 30% of your money or whatever tax bracket you were in. I remember
right.
getting the first check from the NFL. My first check, I look at it, I'm going down the line. I'm like, whoa, whoa, wait a minute.
He's like, time out, time out.
What is this? Like, where is all this money going to? And I just didn't understand. So again, just having that kind of education as early as possible
Yeah,
will really set you up once you leave college, so you don't have all the pitfalls that and then when it comes to the pitfalls, it's the ones that you can't even think of.
hmm,
You can try to plan your way around, but without the education, without the knowledge, without a game plan, it's going to be
yeah.
tough.
Well, you segue into the next question. What are the pitfalls you would hope that your story would or could prevent a young student athlete? So, looking at a young Isaac or, whoever, what would you tell them, obviously, now versus when you were in school?
That's a great question. Um, I would tell them as early as possible, preferably your freshman year.
Hmm.
Start putting a plan together financially so when you leave college, you're ready. Because the industry is irrelevant. If you're lucky enough to plan a league, great. But
Yeah.
whatever you get your degree in and you go into the real world, you better have a game plan, not just for a job, having a job, but how to manage your finances when you start getting paid. Because once you get that job, you're gonna start making more money you ever seen in your life, no matter the job, no matter what industry you're in. It's more
Yeah.
money than you've ever seen to that point. Personally, when it comes to you as an individual making the money, so just have a plan for it. Talk to guys like yourself about investing. Great options. Business wise, if there's something you want to get into when it comes to your personal starting a business and
Hmm.
working, just having a plan, man, is probably the best advice I can give any young athlete. Have your goals, shoot for the stars, you
Yeah.
know, and wherever you land in between, you better have a plan financially to move forward.
I hear you. I hear you. So now you're hitting a bonus round. So obviously you're one of the athletes that went to the next level. And you touched on as far as taxes and everything, but well, I guess you touched on it as well with where your dad saying basically put some away. Was that the main thing that you did as far as just put half away or put a portion away, or was there anything else you did differently as far as just now you're managing a lot more money?
Yeah, good question. You know, when we started putting money away, it was actually an NFL program. So it
Hmm.
wasn't that we just putting money away to the side. My dad actually the next day called the NFL and said, "Listen, are there any kind of programs that my son can get into where we can invest money into when it comes to the NFL that can be automatically removed from his paycheck?" So there
Yeah.
was a couple of programs that I was involved in, and the NFL does a great job at that, an even better job now.
Hmm.
So it was, doing that was huge for me. And then right around my fifth year in the league,
Hmm.
I remember going to lunch with my dad, and he said, "Well, Bird, how much longer you think you could be able to play?" I'm like, Dad, I don't, you know, I'm hoping another 10 years, but it
Right.
ain't gonna probably be that way. And right around that time I realized, I'm probably won't be the $50 million contract guy.
Mm.
I'm probably not gonna be the guy that, signed one of them huge deals. I mean, I played 4 years in the league. After 4 years, you kind of really understand who you are and where you're gonna fit. Very few players after 4 years really extend on a totally different level. Right around that time, you know about who
Gotcha.
you be. And I knew around, look at myself in the mirror, I'm like, I probably won't be that guy. So, but that's when I started thinking after football because I never thought about it after that. Before that, I never thought about it.
Oh
So then
wow.
I start putting together my idea on what I wanted to do after football, my plan, what I want to do. I talked to a bunch of people, and that really helped. So when I retired, I was able to step right into coaching young athletes. I was able to step right into speaking at corporations and speaking at high schools and colleges, and speaking at different kind of summits for college coaches.
Sure.
So because I set that up a couple of years early, I was able to roll into it.
Yeah.
But it took someone smarter than me, though. See, sometimes you got to have somebody on your team that can actually that's smarter than you, that is able to say, listen, maybe you should do this, and this. And that was my
Yeah.
dad. And my
Yeah.
dad was able to put me in place in a lot of key situations that I thank him for.
It's awesome, man. That is awesome. That's awesome. Well, so basically the end. But now that obviously we kind of talked about, school and so forth, a little bit about the league, tell everybody what you're doing now. What's Isaac Byrd doing now? You mentioned speaking and so forth.
Yeah, yeah. I used to do a lot of speaking. It was, after about 8 years of that, I stopped. It was. I mean, the schedule of speaking nationally, it was tough. But
Yeah.
I'm in real estate now, man. I buy, rehab, and rent homes in the St. Louis area, my hometown.
Uh-huh.
So about 6 years ago, I went back to St. Louis because most of my family is still there, and then I went back to my older neighborhood, the neighborhood I grew up in. I just saw a lot of these homes just vacant, lots vacant, homes, tore down, and I was like, something needs to happen here. So I put a team together, and we just start purchasing homes, refurbishing them, and
Yeah.
then renting them, and that's what we do now. And I'm excited about it because it allows me to give back. It
Yeah.
allows me to fix up a neighborhood that I grew up in,
Yep.
in the surrounding area, and also help some people get into some homes that maybe they couldn't really get into, helping some people better their situation. So real estate is big with me now. It's a passion of mine, and
Awesome.
and I love
Dude, that's awesome, man. I wasn't expecting that. Okay.
it.
That's a nice little nugget.
I also love playing golf.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, man, I play golf a lot. I play golf a lot. I mean, I'm in Florida, so we get to play golf here all year round. So I'm loving that. Golf allows me to continue to stay competitive. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, and look, as being an athlete, we're always competitive. No matter
Yep.
how we get, we're going to be competitive. So,
Yeah.
playing golf allows me to put that, those competitive energies into a sport that I can still actually, you know, physically play.
Yeah. Yeah. So how's the knees? How's the joints? Everything? You still feel pretty healthy?
Yeah, you know what? I got out with very minimum knee damage, very minimum ankle damage. Now I had 3 surgeries on my stomach. I had a sports hernia
Oh, gotcha.
that happened my 5th year in the league, and I had a surgery then, and then 2 surgeries my 6th year in the league,
Hmm.
and then after that I just couldn't run. I couldn't run at that level. I
Yeah.
couldn't really compete at that level after those surgeries. But it doesn't affect the important thing though, Pat, is that it doesn't affect my golf swing. See, that's the key, bro. It does, that energy does not affect my golf swing right now, so I'm good. I'm
You
good.
good? You good to go? You good to go? So I would be remiss if I didn't mention the name of your book, um, "How to Bridge the Gap Between Professional and Amateur Athletes." So that's on Amazon. So you're the first guy I'm gonna say, hey, check out. I'm gonna put his link down below. I
That's
never had to do that before.
it's about thinking like professional athletes, how to think like a pro, act like a pro, and play like a pro. It's 8 different principles that we go through, and the key thing about those principles is that they not only help you athletically, but they help you when you retire. If they roll right into your everyday life, when it comes to um, goal setting, affirmations, visualizations, game day preparations. Those are all things that, if you utilize correctly in your athletic ability through college, you can take those skills and utilize them every single day in life. And we did a lot of promotion with that. That was extremely successful. I've been asked to write the second part of that book, which I probably start sometime next year.
Okay, that was the next question I was going to ask. And I think I apologize. I miss spoke on the title of your book there.
That's
Yeah, but well, yeah, that's it, man. Like I said, I definitely appreciate you taking the time to chat with me. It's always good to see you, brother.
You too, bro, man. Hey, and big ups to you, bro, because you're doing a great job, and the thing that you're putting together, this this podcast and these interviews, I would tell anyone, go check out those interviews. There are some very good hit nuggets in every single one of them that can help these athletes, these young student athletes. So great job by you, Pat.
Hey, I appreciate it, brother, man. It's again, it's good seeing you. I can't wait for you to sometime get back to Lawrence, man. We go to the course, hit a couple.
Yeah. Oh, that's all I need to hear. Set it up.
All right, man. Well, it's
All
good
right,
talking to you, man.
you too, man. Take it
Take
easy.
care. Yep.